Let's
That's a
see.
tiny little screen.
It is.
And it gets bigger, huh? I mean,
Uh,
the picture?
oh yeah, as big as you want.
Oh, really? Cool.
So we're here recognizing, hanging out with my mama. This is the Desert Artist, in case y'all didn't know. Uh, my family has a lot of history in Seattle, Washington. My grandfather was a ferry boat captain, and my grandmother on my paternal side, she was a
Worked for an attorney.
she worked for an attorney.
And she was the head lady for in the office. She did all the hiring, firing, and all the paperwork.
Huh.
In Seattle, downtown Seattle, and the biggest one of the biggest offices down there. So yeah, she'd had a really good paying job, really good paying job.
And my dad was not raised by her, right? She was. He was raised by.
Grandma, her mother, raised him.
Okay.
Yeah, her mother raised him, and then when he got old enough, then he came in and lived with her and Grandpa. Yep. Funny family.
Funny, he said the same thing about your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, how did when Grandpa Bane, my maternal side, when he was given Cordy's towing from Mr. Did Mr. Cordy have more than one outlet for his towing company?
No, he only had. Oh, yeah, he had other businesses, but Dad was the only one that got anything because he was. Oh, he was like his child.
Okay.
He they were two buddies, but he was Dad. Of course, Dad was really young, and that's why he left everything to him, to Dad. And he left the summer place up in lakes, up in the out of town up in the lake,
Flowing Lake?
Flowing Lake. Yeah,
He got that from Mr. Cordy too?
yes, Mr. Cordy's gave it to Dad.
Wow.
Yeah, yep.
Cool.
That's why we had that to go swimming and camping.
Did Mr. Cordy have children?
No, no,
No.
he didn't have any kids. No, Dad was the only one that got anything.
Wow, we.
That's why he got the company.
Huh.
And the tow trucks, that's why he kept buying new tow trucks and stuff. He had, yeah, he got everything, and nobody else did, just Dad.
Wow.
Yep.
So there's a hard lesson learned there. See that
Yep.
you don't really have to be part of somebody's family in order to be a part of their lives.
No.
That's powerful, right?
Yeah, yeah. They were inseparable. Cause we go swimming in his swimming pool, over to his house,
Right.
and go swimming in the pool, and we had parties over there and dinner and all kinds of stuff. Cause Dad was actually he considered Dad his child, because Dad was so good and did everything just like he was supposed to do,
Right.
running the company. He would have never made the money if it hadn't been for Dad,
Yeah.
and when we towed in cars, when they had the big car races and stuff, and the boat races on the lake, on the big huge lake, they had boat races, and Dad would go down and take pictures of them, and then he'd tow all the cars away because they were parked in the wrong parking place. You couldn't park on the lake. And so he'd go down there and impound. Him and 5 of his guys would go down there and impound every car. Filled up our lot, which was almost 2 or 3, 4 acres. And they filled it all up with everybody's car. And I had to sit in the office and give the people their car back and make them pay the tax, the paperwork to keep them, to be the towing and the storage. God almighty, were people mad. Oh, my Lord. They finally had to put a cop in the office to protect me. The police department did.
Wow.
They put in 2 officers in the office to help take care of me.
Huh.
So the people wouldn't jump over the fence and try to get their money and over the desk. And Oh yeah, it was a real. Oh man, what a mess.
And Uncle Jack was
A tow,
probably
tow truck driver.
was probably the lead guy.
No, no,
No,
Dad had older ones that were been
okay.
there with him since the very beginning. No, that,
What influence do you think that made Jack become a police officer? Was it that influence maybe?
probably there. Yeah, yeah,
Because
because he
he would have had a lot of contact with them, right?
all the time they'd come to Mom's house every morning for coffee and breakfast. All the time.
Because my grandma made homemade donuts that were as big as her fryer, and she dipped them. This is before they had the $5 donuts. My grandma sold them for two. She big, and they were about that thick, and she would dip them in frosting and spray. She had little containers, and she would have probably 10 different containers of types of frosting and liquid to put on top, and then the condiments, the sprinkles,
Yep.
the different flavors of chips and large and small, and oh wow, I mean, uh, you name it, she made them. And my uncle owned a restaurant in Concanelli, Washington, and well, he owned
A
two.
bar.
Did well, he owned two of me. Did he owned Lucky Jack's first? Correct.
Yeah. My brother.
Yeah,
Yeah, he owned yes.
and as he bought that from
Uh,
Lucky Joe.
yep, Lucky Joe.
Yeah, from Lucky Joe, turned it to Lucky Jack's. Did you were a bartender for Lucky Joe's, right?
Yep.
Huh.
And I worked for Jack. I cooked and I did dishes. Mom did the cooking too. Mom did all the baking, made all the pies for everybody, for birthday parties and dinners, and Jack selling them. She made pies like she would make probably 14 pies a day.
Wow,
That's a lot of pies,
that's
and
a
that's
lot
a
of
lot of
pies,
selling pies. But they were so good, homemade pies. How do
right?
you get that anymore?
Right.
You don't.
Well, and the Jack sold them probably a la mode for 250, right? A slice.
Oh yeah, or more.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and that's where I learned to play pool. Was at my uncle's restaurant in the back bar room. I would hustle all the guys from the coast at 8 years old
And made money.
and made money.
Lots of money. Yes, you guys did. Oh man, you were hot rods. Yeah, and they came every day. I mean, every year. They were from the fire department and the police department, and that was their vacation. They would come up there and stay for a week. And then you guys knew they were there, and they would baby you guys and shoot pool, and oh my God, I could never find you kids, but in Jack's room there where you could play, where you were shooting pool with all the guys from Seattle, cops from Seattle. That's who they were. Fire department and the cops. Yeah, on their vacation to get away from their wives for a week.
Now, also, Grandpa was a truck driver for Rainier Beer. Now, was that after he sold Cordy's Towing or got rid of
No,
Cordy's Towing?
no, it was before.
So,
When he retired from Cordy's, he didn't work anymore. He was at the beach all the time,
oh,
taking care of the beach, and we were going up there camping all the time. And he put in a couple of big motor homes in there for us to sleep in. Put 2, 4, 6 bunk beds in one of them, so you kids would have their own trailer and could scream and holler and run up and down the hall and do what you wanted to do. You and Bobby and Johnny and the guys that work for Cordy's as kids. That's where the kids slept.
huh.
Yeah,
I don't remember any of the tow truck stuff.
they don't.
No. All I remember is him driving Rainier Beer truck, and I would be on the CB radio at, what was I, 6 years old? I was 7 years old. I was
Yeah.
on the CB radio talking to truckers. Um, I, that was, and I still remember my CB name. I was Spider Eye. That was my name, Spider Eye. I don't know why. That was it, but that's what I remember.
Because you
I-
were smart and you were listening to everything that was going on and not missing nothing.
I don't know. But I do not remember Cordy's towing. Did I ever visit the towing thing?
I don't think so, because you were little, and I don't think so, because we were so busy and we had so many. Can I say black people?
Oh, well, you can say black people because
Okay.
they are black
We had a
people.
lot of black people came in and because we impounded a lot of black people's cars from downtown Seattle. And
Well,
so
it was
we
probably a pretty popular spot for.
yeah, and we were in the middle of downtown Seattle, see, so we got a lot of towing. We were swamped constantly. We never those guys truck drivers never stopped. I mean, Dad had 6 or 8 of them going at a time, and they were coming in so fast I couldn't write the paperwork up fast enough.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes I had a stack about that high that I had to keep going because they were towing them in so much. And when they had the big parade in downtown Seattle, oh, that was the worst.
Oh
Oh,
my.
God.
Wow.
The parking lot was so full, Dad had to take them to back downtown instead of, because we had them on Roosevelt Way in Seattle, in the University District and up that way.
Uh-huh.
In the Wallingford District, we had offices, and we had to take all the cars up there, and Dad bought 2 or 3 acres, and that's where we parked all the cars from that we were impounding from the parades. I mean, he made a fortune. That's where he got all his money, was his the guys, the tow truck drivers would come in and drop them at the gate and say, okay, Kathy, go park it. So I had to get out of the office, run in, quit the wet paperwork, jump in the car, take it up, clear at the back of the parking lot, and run back to the office and try to write up some more paper. And here would come 2 more cars, and I'd have to get back out, jump back in.